Well, that's it for, what day is it? What week is it? Week 7. That's it for week 7. The 7 games we're on. We're going to talk about them. There were big performances as usual, massive letdowns. I'm looking at you, somebody, big man, Memphis. Michael Bolton?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I invented Bazball. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, go to FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We're free. We're available on all platforms. We are part of the #1 sports podcast network, which is, of course, the Locked On Podcast Network. We've got 7 games on. We're beginning week 8, obviously. We've done a week 8 preview show. We've done a waiver wire show. We've done a Monday preview show as well. And this is a very, very low volume week. So when we're talking about things like ads and drops and valuing players, I think, yes, every week is important and get your wins where you can, and you can turn one game into 5 games this week pretty easily. But I think a lot of the decisions you make about adding someone, it does give you a little bit of a chance where this week can be obviously more at play due to variance because of low volume of games. That increases variance. But it gives you more of an opportunity to wait on an injured guy because they might only play once over 5 nights. And you're not at a disadvantage because that happens to a lot of teams and a lot of players. So you can wait out things a little bit longer. You can take he's got a bad schedule. That's okay because the whole week's a little bit of a write-off just in that respect. Because when you go down from instead of playing 45 games for the week and your matchup's got 25 in it, the variance is so high or so much higher that sometimes you can take a little bit of a forward-thinking approach and use this as almost a write-offy sort of week. Get the win, by all means, and stream it through and do that. But I wouldn't be going, wow, I've got this guy who's the 80th best player, but he only plays once this week. I've got to drop him because I've got to get more games in. No, I wouldn't be doing it that way. I would not look. I'd be looking at this week. Well, you know what? We just got kicked in the head with the way the schedule goes, and I'll cop it for this week. If this was week 17 and we're getting onto the playoffs, then yeah, you've got to make those moves to get those desperate wins. But I think we're still sort of early enough here where we can take a little bit of a hit and we can feel, okay about that without having to make sacrificial moves, I think. That's how I'd be approaching. I'm not approaching it any sort of wow, there's no games and I really got to drop everybody to get more games in. I'm not going to be approaching it that way. You can, but that is not how I'm going to be doing it. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to get in and I'm going to talk about the games. We had an incredibly early game today, the Orlando Magic against the New York Knicks, and the Knicks went up 106-100. Not really the big deal, though, here, is it? Because the big story out of this one is an injury to Franz Wagner. I would have hoped we got some information out of it. We don't at this point in terms of what it is. And then we also had an injury to Jalen Suggs. They play on Tuesday in the NBA Cup quarterfinals. I'll tell you now, there is almost no shot that Franz plays in that game. And I don't think Suggs will play either. The thing about this one is, obviously, we can look at, Suggs was great. 17, 3 and 4, 2 steals at the block. He's been so good this season. And if he was going to be in and Franz out, his numbers would go up again. But I do think he misses a little bit of time, but less than Franz. I don't as much think that Wagner's torn an ACL now. You look at it a few more times. I think there's maybe bone bruise, maybe. But I think it's probably multi-week absence for Franz. But honestly, who knows? It could be any sort of injury that ends up with his knee there. We've also, the good thing about this is we've got a way to look at this. We know what happened when Paolo was out. I don't imagine much changes. So we're adding Restore Black. And then deeper leagues, you're looking at Tristan da Silva. And that's what I'm talking about. If you look at this week, the Magic literally might play one game. They might play on Tuesday, lose, and their rescheduled game is for Monday the next week. They might play again on Sunday. They might play Saturday. I don't know. But I would still prioritize adding Anthony Black because Franz is out, and I think it's multi-week, and Suggs is out, and that might be multi-week. So I would do it. Da Silva, not as interested. Wendell Carter, he's on a bit of a slump at the moment. I would hold him 8 and 7 for him in his 33 minutes. While Desi Bain, what's going on with this guy? The numbers are fine. 16, 6 and 4, and his numbers will push up again if Franz is out. But throwing the ball at OG, what are you doing, man? Settle down. Wagner only had the 7 points, while Banchero still got to ramp his way up. 24 minutes, 13 points, 2 assists, 2 threes. Good free throws, bad field goals. Yeah, he's still all over the place. I still can't fully get a read on what is going on with Paolo this season. But we need to get those minutes back up and see where he goes. As for De Silva, he started the second half. My guy. None of 7 from the field for 0 points and 5 rebounds. We do not need to mess with him in a 12-team format. And that's one of these ones where I don't think he's a 12-team league guy anyway. You've got only 1 guaranteed game this week. Maybe 2. Max 2, but maybe 2. So I just don't think there's any point in it. I don't think he's a must-grab play because we've seen it and it's not must-grab. He's not that guy. I don't think. Anyway. We should talk about the Knicks side, though, because there were some interesting developments, I guess, in this one, or on this side, because Karl-Anthony Towns was out, and that meant that Mitchell Robinson started. He played 25 minutes. So, again, it's always good to see, look, how high can he actually push? Because 25 minutes is an interesting number from Mitch, and the other games he's playing 18, 19. He had 6 and 13 with a steal and a block, which if you streamed him in today for Mitchell Robinson, that's really good. But we also seem to know that that's not going to be an ongoing thing. I don't think that Towns they're calling it calf tightness. I think he'll be available on Tuesday. So I don't think you need to do anything with Mitch. The other one to watch there was Ariel Hukporti. Not only did he injure Franz Wagner, not deliberately, but he did injure him. He had a good game too. 6 and 7, 3 blocks, 1 steal. Just keep it in mind. Brunson scored 30 with 9 assists, but really bad field goals on high volume. And his numbers are fine. Brunson, I wouldn't say that he's been good. I don't think that he's lived up to his ADP. In points leagues, maybe. In category leagues, definitely not. And Mikal Bridges had one of his worst games, which is fine because he's been outperforming everyone's expectations. He had 12, 6, and 7. Another 6, 7. Bro, what's going on today? Joshy Hart, 34 minutes, 17 and 12, 2 steals and a block. Now, Hart is absolutely flying. I could tell you he's a sell high, and he probably is. But OG is back, not at full minutes. And I do feel like now, after going away from it, they are going to be recommitting to starting Josh Hart. I do want to see, is he a 33-minute starter or a 36-minute starter? That makes a difference as to where Hart's value is. It's been a bad start to the season for Hart, but he is flying now. And just an interesting sort of change in dynamics, I guess. I thought Jordan Clarkson was going to be a good stream for today, the man on the street, Jordan Clarkson, and he went scoreless in 17 minutes. So yeah, that was shocking. While the Jedi OG Anunoby had 21 and 7 and 3 steals and 5 threes, and he's still a lot of minutes with it. Good. He's back. He's ramping up, and we are going to be set to go. Juice McBride also hurt himself in this one. You can drop McBride in 12s and probably even 14-team leagues with the team looking healthier than they had been looking. Shall we go on to the next game? We probably should. The Boston Celtics, they just keep winning. 121-113 over the Raptors. Remember the Raptors had like a 9-10 game win streak? I think they've lost 5 out of their last 6 now. 121-113. Boston, who'd started out the season really poorly, is flying at the moment now as well. Jalen Brown had another 30 and 8 with 5 assists. He has absolutely exceeded all of my expectations this season. He has been way better than I thought. Derek White had 27, 4 and 5 with 6 threes and 3 blocks. Big games from both those guys. And it was a nice game to see Nemesh Keita, the Pastel Donata, play 34 minutes. He had 11-11, 4 assists and 2 blocks. Really good stuff from Keita, a must-roster player. Jordan Walsh, we featured him on the Waiver Wire show earlier today, talking about how his shooting wasn't going to hold at that level. Well, it sort of did. It's not really. Like, he only took 2 threes and he went 1 of 2. That's still 50%. Amazingly, that's a drop-off from where he had been. And he was 50% from 2. But you see the impact here. When he's not shooting 94%, he had 9 and 6. Not good. He had 3 steals. Very good. So if you want Jordan Walsh, and his role is relatively secure in this 25, 26-minute zone, he does get into foul trouble a lot. The scoring, the shooting was fake. All of that, just could have ignored it. And you get a better example here, and even this, going 50% from 3, is not something you should bank yourself on. Steals and blocks, yeah, they're good. Rebounds above average, absolutely. But that level of shooting, not a real thing. He was never going to maintain it at that number, and even though today was good, it still shows how big of a cut down that creates, which is good information. Peyton Pritchard had 15, 4 and 6 with 3 threes. After a really slow start to the season, Pritchard is sort of settling in now, and we're getting that constant sort of top 70 run from him. Well, again, I'll just continue to do it. Why are you rostering Anthony Simons? What is wrong?
Get that garbage out of here.
12 points in 21 minutes for 2 threes. Bad field goals. Didn't attempt a single free throw. What is he doing? Why is he on rosters? Josh Minot had 3 points. Yep, he's down to only 11 minutes here. While Slam and Sammy Hauser hit his 3 threes. He did his thing. And those Hauser Minot minutes as the backup as well as Gonzalez and Shyman, they're all just fighting there with Walsh. Now at any point, Sneaky Joe could move away from Jordan Walsh. but it doesn't appear like it's something that's coming in the foreseeable future. That's how you foreshadow a little bit of a discussion later on. Shall we go on to the other side of this? Because it is our Toronto Raptors. They're making Canada look good by losing another game. Because, that's even getting close is something that Canadians should aspire to do. Scotty Barnes had 18, 11, and 8 with a steal and a block. Very good stuff from him. And Brandon Ingram had been very, very bad. But it's awesome to see him be very good. 30 and 4 with 4 threes and 3 assists on 55%. Now, they had played 5 games in 7 nights. He had, I think it's the anniversary of when he sprained his ankle last season, which ended his season. Sure, it did. And he seemed a little fatigued, but that is good to get that game back on track. I'll tell you what's not back on track, though. Jakob Poeltl. Bro, what's going on? He looked really bad at the start of the season, and the back issue was clearly a problem, and he sat out games. He came back, and he looked great. I thought he looked really good. He was putting up top 70 numbers. And now it looks as though we're back to the first week of the season, Jakob Poeltl, where he's just not as nimble, he's not contesting shots. I worry that the back has flared again. I don't think that he's completely washed, but he doesn't look good, obviously. But also, 2 weeks ago, he did look good. He looked really good. So I'm not sure. I don't think that, hey, you wash. Oh, you're not. Oh, now you are. I do, and especially when you have been dealing with a back injury, I do think the back thing is creating a problem. My concern is this just an ongoing, lingering thing that creates this on and off scenario? I, personally, me, Josh Lloyd, I'm not dropping Jakob Poeltl. You could do whatever you want. He's 138th in points league. So it would suggest to you that in a standard points league or a 10-team points league, you don't need to bother. And that's okay, because he is much better in category leagues and points leagues. In a category league, he's like 130th, which is very borderline. But I look at that and go, do I really think that Jakob Poeltl is a half a block a game guy? I don't. And he's down to like 53% from the field over the last 3 games. I also don't believe that. So I think they're going to improve. So I'm holding. But again, I understand that you wouldn't want to in some cases, but just try not to be too reactive. With Poeltl, again struggling, Sandro Kalishvili had 14 and 6. That's good. He is a points guy. He gets some rebounds. He's still not good enough to be a must-roster 12-team league player, even with some concerns about Poeltl. If we hear that Poeltl is out, then sure, absolutely. And in this one, we got a good Jamal Shed game, 9 and 4 with 2 steals. And we actually got Ochai Agbaji playing over Jacoby Walter. Walter started. But Agbaji had 11 and 3 with 2 blocks, and Walter went scoreless in his 12 minutes. As the Dick, Walter, Agbaji, Shed grouping of guys, Darko just continues to sort of mix and match with those players. We've got more games that we're going to come back and talk about. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by Robinhood. Nobody knows your money goals better than you. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do. Locking in on every opening and beating your PR, then beating it again, you can channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto, all on one platform. And you can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, well, expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that is robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. This next game is a bit of a weird one, a huge blowout. Memphis wins at 119-96 over the Blazers. We'll talk about the Blazers. There was no Donovan Clingan, so he thought, oh, awesome. That means Robert Williams, after his 30-minute game, is going to go off. And of course not. He got sick. I think this might have happened last season as well, where Ayton was out. And you go, well, now it's a chance for Williams to start because Clingan's not ready. And then he went to get started and got injured and he never came back. So that's really frustrating. So that meant that we got Young Hun-Sen making his first NBA start. He played 19 minutes for 4 points. They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have started him. Dwop Reith is clearly more NBA capable. Reith had 12 points with 3 threes. And they just got killed. Hun-Sen is so far off at the moment that we don't need to worry about that too much. And I don't think that Clingan or Williams, it's a good week to get some recovery in for these guys. And I think Drew Holiday might be back next game as well. That we don't worry too much about it. Denny Avdia only took 3 free throw attempts. He is horrendous at shooting at the moment. He is like turning into Giannis type stuff. Not quite, but it's close. He's taken 1 million attempts usually, and he just can't hit any. And it's really dragging it down. 17, 7, and 7 with 3 steals. The counting stats are good. And it was also a good bounce back from Tumani Kamara. 13 and 6 with 3 threes and 3 steals. I know he's been the subject to many, many jokes and frustrations. But I would say as a general thing over the last 2 weeks, Kamara's been pretty good. I think he's been fine. I remain relatively convinced that Shaden Sharp is just going to stay off the bench. He only played 27 minutes here. So yeah, 27 minutes after he'd played 34, the other one's off the bench. And I just think they are grooming us to be ready for the fact that he's staying on the bench. He had 17, 2 and 2 with 3 threes. It doesn't really impact him too much, but just, again, be prepared that Jeremy Grant sticks in this role. As for Jez, he ended up with 21 and 7. I think he missed his first 4 shots or 5 shots of the game. Shot 31% overall, but he got to the line 10 times. Hit 9 of them. He has been way better than I thought. He was horrid last season. He has been more efficient, more volume, and I thought they were going to reduce his role, and they did, and then it just stopped and they increased it yet again. Very Josh Hardy, to be honest. Very good stuff from Jeremy Grant, who has turned from a guy that I had no interest in to a guy that you should be rostering. And I just didn't see that and got it wrong. What else is happening on this team? Not a lot. Like, you're getting minutes out of Sidi Sissoko and Caleb Love, but these are just very, very deep league scenarios. The reason why this game was quite strange is it was a blowout, yeah. And the Grizzlies get the win pretty comfortably, but not because their starters were putting up big numbers. Because we'll come here and we'll talk about what on earth is going on with Jaren Jackson. He played 24 minutes. He had 6 points. He did have 3 steals and 2 blocks and 4 assists. So again, the scoring is really bad. The other stuff, that's all right. That's good. But he played 24 minutes. Cedric Coward, the chicken, played 24 minutes. He had 11, 6, and 3, so not bad, but wildly inefficient. But it was the bench who got the big blowout. Vince Williams, who you can drop, 5, 2, and 0. Like, he's an easy drop in 12 and 14 team leagues, Vince.
Get that garbage out of here!
Those are low minutes. This is just what happened with the starters. And then Zach Edey, he got you the double-double, but he fouled out. He played just 22 minutes. So that's why it's a very strange game. We had the bench going crazy. 32 minutes for Cam Spencer. I cannot believe how good this guy's been. 12, 3, and 6 with 4 steals. I'm almost getting to the stage where I just think you just roster him, and when Morant comes back, who cares? He's been that good. Honestly, like, this is the role I think many people expect Ty Jerome's going to play when eventually Milk returns. But the milk is sour now, and it's all Cam Spencer's world. Yeah, he's probably an ad. And then with all those other starters playing fewer minutes, Santi Aldama had a good game. Now, he has not been good, but this was good. 22 and 7 with 2 steals and 3 threes. And I can't mess with him. There's just too much ups and downs with him where I'm fine if the schedule looks good. If it's weak, I'll drop him. If there's someone else I want, I don't care. I don't think his upside is high enough to care that much about. Back to the chicken, Cedric Coward. People were, after the last game, I talked about this on the waiver wire show earlier today. They were saying, man, he's back. We've got to go make sure we grab him just after we dropped him. But again, like, that happened. Then he had 11, 6, and 3 with no threes on bad field goals, bad free throws. So, cool. That didn't mean that he was back having big games. He might have another big game coming up. But this is more in line with what we've seen for the last 4 weeks versus what we saw for the previous game. And it's good to at least, sometimes you like to get that reminder. We go, yeah, okay, maybe the good game was the outlier, not the 14 bad ones. I don't mind if you want to roster him and hope that we get improvements because he is starting. But there was no indication that this changed anything. Jalen Wells also on a really strong run here. 16, 5, and 3. 2 steals and 2 threes. That is getting to the stage where in a 14-team league, you probably need to do it. And in a 16-team or in a 12-teamer, I'm not fully on it, but I can see why you would. But of course, their schedule this week, not super strong. In fact, it's actually pretty bad. So I don't think that I'd necessarily prioritize that for this upcoming week. Now let's go on talking about the Denver Nuggets and the Charlotte Hornets. In Charlotte, the Denver Nuggets win at 115-106. Same starting group for Denver. It was just Jokic and Murray. 28, 9, 11 for the Big Chungus, and then 34, 3, and 5 for the Headmaster. Elite percentages for both of them, apart from Jokic's free throws, and just good games all around. Spencer Jones continues to show that little 2-game sample was a complete fluke. 8 points, 2 threes, 2 steals. You don't need to roster him in 10 or 12 or 14 team leagues. Peyton Watson also has calmed down from that elite usage and shooting run. 44% on 9 shots, 10 and 8. We are still rostering him. And also Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson over the last 5 games is playing 36 minutes a night and he's ranked 213th. 8 points, 39 minutes, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 29%. Now, when we saw those guys go down, we talked about Johnson, how we started a little bit to do the thing. Except his usage didn't really change. What happened was the shooting went to like 60% from 3, and instead of playing 29 minutes, he played 39 minutes or 38 minutes. So the shooting, I'm not convinced with. The usage is not getting there at all. And now the reason to hold him is that the minutes floor for Cam is pretty secure, but that's a pretty rough game from him today. Timmy Hardaway's been a nice points, threes type stream guy, 14 with 2 triples. And then we saw Bruce Brown, who had a really good game last time out and then dropped a Well, is that our second Tony Snell in the last week? He had a 20 trillion. Who had the one the other day? Someone tagged me in it the other day. I wish I could remember. I'm so sorry. A 20 trillion for Bruce Brown. That's a Tone Snell. No points, no rebounds, no assists, no threes, no steals, no blocks. 3 missed field goals. That is his night done. Bad one. So you don't need to be rostering Brucey in 150 deeps. Maybe, probably 200 deeps, honestly, I would say. He's doing the washed thing where it's like, you might get the occasional good one, but they're just so like few and far between that there's no reliability, and the overall cumulative nature of the stats isn't good enough. For the Hornets, LaMelo Ball was out with that ankle issue. Colin Sexton was out with a thigh issue, and Moussa Diabate was also out with a knee issue. Trey Mann was also out. So what did we get? We got KJ Simpson starting. And KJ is not a bad fill-in option. And if you had to hit his free throws, it would look a lot better. Only 1 assist is a bit annoying, but 16 and 5 with a steal and 2 threes. He's at least in the stream zone territory. What we got was Liam McNeely. Yeah. 20 minutes, 13 points, 4 threes. That's an interesting sort of scenario, because the guy who'd been popping off as the backup power forward had been Tijan Salan, who dropped back to being Tijan Salan, who I was a little bit interested because his last 3 games have been really good. He had 5 and 6 here, but McNeely outplayed him. Strong game from Brandon Miller. Not so strong from the big Areola Concaniple, 14 and 4. And Knipple has sort of really settled now. Like, we're seeing like what happens when you don't shoot 50 from 3. It's settled in. He's good. He's a must-roster guy. But we're seeing the reality of him as a player. For this season, anyway. The big Ryan Kalkbrenner, not a very good game. 25 minutes, 6 and 6 with a block. I would still be rostering him in all 12-teamers. Points leagues, a little bit different. In fact, in a 12-team points league, don't bother. In a 10-team, don't bother. In a category league, he is a must to me. And that's it. But like a lot of guys out, obviously. Sexton, Ball, Diabate, even Paddy Connaughton and Trey Mann. And then you're going to have returns of Grant Williams and Josh Green coming soon also, which they're going to have some sort of an impact. What it is, I don't know, but they will have some sort of an impact. We'll come back and we've got the other 3 games to cover. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, but you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best when the game starts to shift. Receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or maybe the quarterback for the best team in the NFL goes down with an injury. Or maybe there's a turnover that flips the momentum. Who knows? FanDuel lets you jump into the moment with live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly. Player props and updates as guys heat up. And you get bet things like next touchdown scorer, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. So when you go in there, you can check. And actually, we're not going to check NFL stuff. I wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. Let's talk about the NBA. Let's talk about some regular season wins. We've got 3 teams with odds to win 65 regular season games on FanDuel. The Rockets at plus 920, the Pistons at plus 1200, the Knicks at plus 5000. I wouldn't be betting that one. I would not be betting the Knicks at plus 5,000 to win 65 games, but they're bets you can do. Plus, of course, you can live bet on FanDuel, the NBA as well. And when you want to be right in the middle of that action this season, you go to FanDuel.com and you place your NFL and NBA live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Now let's talk about this embarrassing franchise, the Chicago Bulls, as the Warriors with just what is going on with this rotation and this team just absolutely cooking them. 123-91 is the final score. Mind you, this is a back-to-back for the Warriors after they'd somehow beaten the Cavs in their game yesterday with whatever hodgepodge game this is, squad this is, and another game where they keep their opponents under 100 points. I don't really know how the Warriors are doing it. And when you go and investigate their box score, it's even more confusing, to be honest. It's just all over the shop. So the Warriors, after Steve Kerr told us that Moses Moody is going to be starting for the foreseeable future, he's been taken out of the starting lineup for the last 2 games. Of course he has. In this one, Jimmy Butler returned and Jonathan Kuminga moved back to the bench. But not only did he move back to the bench, he might as well have been moved completely out of the facility because he got DMP'd. Obviously, and maybe it's not because I see him still rostered 57% of leagues for 12-teamers. Old mate John Kuminga. See you later.
Get that garbage out of here!
He can't be traded until January anyway. He is not in their plans. He's playing terribly. There is clear friction here. It's just, see you later. Bye. Done. Don't roster him anywhere. No point in it. Also, look, how this rotation is so hard to judge. Now, there was no Seth Curry in this one. No Steph Curry in this one. No Green and no Horford. Seth was a DNP, but the next time they play is on Friday, and Steph is going to be back. Draymond's going to be back. Horford's going to be back. So I can sit here and tell you that Brandon Podziemski was great. 21, 8, and 7 with 2 steals. Bear all of this in mind. When the guy protecting the paint on the other side is Nikola Vucevic, bit easy to get shots off. Podziemski, though, last game was absolutely putrid. Against the Cavs, he was terrible in a bench role. So I'm dropping him. Pat Spencer, another good game. 12, 5, and 6 in 27 minutes. I'm not holding him unless we're talking 200 deep leagues. Bud Hield, he was good on Saturday. He was bad today. 9 and 7. The wave pool played 17 minutes to Anthony Melton. 2 steals. We love it for him. 13 points and 3 threes. That's a really good game for those limited minutes. But again, the minutes, they remain so limited for Melton. And they will for a while because not only is he coming off an ACL, there is 8 guys who play the same position. We had a game here where Trace Jackson-Davis played 22. Willie Dick was in the starting lineup. Will Richard had 11 points in 24 minutes. Like, Moody played 19 minutes after being a starter. 20 minutes for Guy Santos. 26 minutes and 19 points for Quinton Post, who is actually playing really well. But I don't care for these guys in... The only guy I want in a 12-team format is Jimmy and Steph. Draymond is borderline and not for everybody. And then everyone else, like Podziemski, who's probably the next guy on the list, honestly, and Melton, they're probably more 175 deep leagues, 180 deep league guys. And then it's just a random assortment of whatever. Like Gary Payton played 4 minutes. He played like 23 yesterday. And this is, again, we're going to add 3 more guys back into this rotation. It's great. Unbelievable work from Steve Kerr to be getting victories like this with Pat Spencer. But for fantasy, it's a disaster. Not only, look, there's 10 guys every game you can choose, and it just alternates seemingly as to who's going to be good or useful or terrible. There's no reliability with any of it. Let alone 3 to 4 guys coming in and out of the lineup every day, and the foreseeable future cropping up every 10 days. It's really, really frustrating from that perspective. And it just means, in general, you just go, all right, I'm just leaving it alone. What am I going to do with it? I can't really predict most of this stuff. There's 5 days until the next game, and it's all going to be different anyway. So no one that I'm looking to grab here. For Chicago, they are in freefall. Matas Buzelis' game is really good. 16 points, 2 threes, 3 steals, 1 block. 58% shooting. He only played 25 minutes. It was a blowout. He got smacked in the face as well. Nose was bleeding. Had to stop that blood. So it would have been better. His form is on the way up. He is a top 50 player over the last 5 games. I don't think he's going to stay there, but after a really bad start to the season, he's basically back inside the top 100, and I think we're going to get there. Josh Giddey, pretty solid. The free throws haven't been good this season. It was bad field goal night as well. 18, 3 and 5, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Not going to complain too much. While the GOAT, I've noticed the comments for Vooch have been a little quiet on the YouTube comments and the tweets about how wrong I am, and this bloke gets Vooch wrong every year, and I'm happy I take him in round 2 and round 3, and he kills it every year. It's been a little, the volume's a little reduced, just a small amount, just a small. Haven't really seen one for a while. If anyone wants to drop one in, go for it. Yeah, this guy sucks. 9.6 rebounds, 24 minutes, 3 assists, 31% shooting for Vooch. He is very clearly outside the top 60 for the season. He is now outside the top 90 over the last 2 weeks. You don't drop Vooch, but this 60 to 70 or 55 to 75 range is what you expect from him. It's what I expect from him. That's where he's been 2 of the last... Well, last year, obviously not. The year before, yes, that's where he was. And I think that's where he's going to be this season. He also seems completely mentally checked out too, which is a part of all of this. Kobe White was also really bad. 12, 1 and 1 with no threes and no defense. 30% shooting. They are just a complete mess at the moment. Julian Phillips started the last game, but he went to the bench with Ayo Dosunmu back, and Dosunmu had 4 points with 5 assists. We had no Trey Jones or Kevin Huerter or Isaac Okoro here either. I think Dosunmu is okay to be holding on to, but also if you're looking to create a way to get more games in, and you need to drop Dosunmu in a 150 deep league, a 12-teamer, do it. Who cares? His upside is not that high. And it will only get worse when Jones and Huerter and Okoro all return. They're missing quite a bit on the wings here, obviously. Is it enough to make them good? Not really. Javon Carter had 13 with 3 threes and 3 steals. Cool. Sick. This team just has no future. Got none. There's no future whatsoever. Sorry, but Bulls fans, I'm sure you're watching this and disagreeing. They have no future. Their lottery pick played 6 minutes and is out for the season. Their front office literally has no idea what they're doing, and their owner doesn't care. It's the worst combination. And Bulls fans support this team so well that they don't need to care. They don't need to change. It's really frustrating. Can't wait for them to do some sort of Domantas Sabonis trade. giving away more future first-round picks to replace Vooch. Can't wait for that to happen. Because when it happens, someone here is going to be laughing. Me. It'll be me. I'll be laughing. In saying all this about Vooch, though, by the way, in all seriousness, he is better than this. He will not play 24 minutes a night or shoot 30%. He is better than this. He will bounce back from this. But he is not a top 20 player. He is not a top 30 player. He is not a top 40 player. He will bounce back to the 60 zone, I believe. But that's a long way from where he currently is as he continues to drop absolutely putrid lines over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And I think that it's gone way too far now. He is way worse than I expect him to be. But he's a mid-round guy. And he'll be back there, I'm pretty sure. Or he's 35. Maybe he won't. Maybe do I get to actually do the Nikola Vucevic washed watch? Maybe. Not quite. That's a teaser for the future, even though it's just the full thing anyway. Let's go to the 2 later games. The Lakers on the road against the Philadelphia 76ers. It helps when Luka Doncic and LeBron James both return, and they did. Jake LaRavia and Gabe Vincent went to the bench. Of course, there was going to be an impact on Austin Reeves, but not everything that happened in this game was due to those guys returning. Reeves just had a stinker, and he'd been awesome, very clearly. 11, 4, and 5 with a steal and a block. The counting stats are okay, but 19% shooting, that kills you. And he couldn't hit his free throws. Just honestly, after an unbelievable run, an unbelievable week, it's just annoying to get that game. Now, yes, it might be bad that you got it on a Sunday, and maybe it costs you your matchup, but also remember that the games you got early in the week probably put you in the position to be leading anyway. So I think it evens out somewhat. LeBron, awesome to get a big game out of him. 29, 7 and 6 with 4 threes. He's been playing very not well, not LeBron-like. This is very good. I still don't care. I do care because I like LeBron, right? And it's all of this is irrelevant. It doesn't mean that I now think he's a top 20 player or I'm ready to trade for him or anything like that. I'm still very worried about the injury concerns and fluctuating performances. Luka had 31, 15, 11, added in 2 blocks, just bad with the percentages. While, what about old mate, the Mpitsu, Rui Hachimura? He played big minutes, 37 of them. 17 and 6 with 3 threes. That is streamable only. De'Aaron Ayton had 14 and 12, and there's not much going on here for the rest of the game. LaRavia only played 17 minutes. Vincent was down to 19. And when LeBron, Reeves, and Doncic are going, the only other guy who's really making a noise is DeAndre Ayton for most people in most fantasy leagues. On the Philadelphia side of this game, we got some interesting developments over here as well. Joel Embiid and Paul George both played. Tyrese Maxey, of course, led the team. He played 39 minutes. Why wouldn't he? 28, 7, and 9 with 2 steals and 2 blocks. His ability to generate defensive stats at the moment has been so important and sort of not out of the blue, but I wasn't sure that they were going to be able to hold year on year, but they've been awesome here. Paul George also starting to look better. Not his best game, but 12, 6, and 2, while Embiid had 16 and 7 steal and a block. Now, 19% shooting is clearly horrific, but he took 21 shots and he played 30 minutes. The volume is amazing. The free throws are great. The minutes are encouraging. Now, I just hope this doesn't mean the next game he's got to sit out, but there are a few positive signs there. The Big Avocado had a double-double, 11 and 12 in 18 minutes. I guess you can hold to see how Embiid pulls up after this one, but I don't think there's any reason to be holding DMP legend Adem Bona. While what I was very confused about was the VJ Edgecombe, Jared McCain minutes situation. I was like, really? Is Edgecombe still on a minutes restriction? This doesn't make sense. He missed like a week, not even that. And now he's only playing 24 a night. And then Nick Nurse, self-branded Hat Legend, came out and said, no, he's going to be increasing his minutes. I went, okay, let's see where it goes. 38 minutes to Edgecombe. McCain played 13. VJ was pretty good. 15, 5, and 3. Rough field goals, great free throws. That's not an awesome line, and with Maxey, George, and Embiid all there, and then Oubre returning, I still think that VJ might be debatable as a must roster. You hold him for now. But what this does is it should put any sort of dent in the idea that McCain was ever going to push up. It also makes it a little harder for Quentin Grimes, who is really struggling at the moment. I am holding Grimes, but he had 7 and 8 in 29 minutes. McCain played 13 minutes for 8 points. Also, don't really think you need to be holding on to Dom Barlow. He had 7 and 4. He's been playing pretty well, but he is over-rostered at the moment. And I think that dropping him to create streaming options during this week is almost certainly, in any 150 deep league, almost certainly going to be the winning move. Now we can do the final game of the night. The Oklahoma City Thunder take care of the Utah Jazz. Not that anyone was really expecting anything different. The Thunder went into this game thinking, yeah, we're good. So they didn't play Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't think that there's any real concern with Shai's injury here. And that meant that AJ Mitchell moved back into the starting lineup. They won at 131-101, the Thunder. They are just this good. They've lost one game all season. This is ridiculous. Let's talk about Mitchell, who I talked about on the waiver wire show today as a droppable player. He played 29 minutes for 7 points. He took 5 shots. He had 5 assists. Yes, he will be better than this most nights, but what are we holding on for? A player outside the top 200 over the last 2 weeks who is going to see Hartenstein, Gilgeous-Alexander, Joe, Caruso, Dort all return? No point. I don't see it. I love the guy. Not happening. The Bronco is just easing back into form, isn't he? Jalen Williams, 25, 3 and 8 with 2 steals. Chet had 25 and 9 with 2 blocks. And it was also a good game from the Hong Kong Mattress in terms of steals. 6 points for Case and Wallace, 2 threes. But he had 5 steals. But that's what he is. He's Matisse Thybulle, but better. He is not a must-roster player, like, at all. Neither is Aaron Wiggins, who had 19 points with 5 threes. Even Usman Jeng and Brandon Carlson jumped in with 14 and 13 each. So it's not really much that we need to look into with this game. I think it further confirms that Wallace is a steals guy and that AJ Mitchell is not a 12-team must-roster player. The interesting other thing here was the Utah Jazz, because they had no Lauri Markkanen, and that is going to be a thing that happens at the end of the season. I'm pretty certain of that. And what they did is they started Kyle Filipowski at power forward. 21 and 10, 3 steals, 71%. He's just, I think at this point, you just roster Filipowski. There are multiple pathways to get minutes with the way that they're getting their asses kicked every game. We also saw Taylor Hendricks put up a good game, 20 and 5 with 4 threes. He played 25 minutes, and that is largely due to Lowry being out, so I'm not going to overreact too much to that one. Another solid but not great game from Ace Bailey. Poor shooting, but he had 13 points with 3 threes, a steal and a block. And what is encouraging with Bailey is that when they get blown out, he still gets big minutes. So he plays in the regular starting lineup, but he plays in the garbage lineup as well. And Keontae George against the Thunder is just a bad time. 8 points, no threes, no steals, 25%, a million turnovers. I think the last time he had that terrible game was against the Thunder as well. This happens against the Thunder. George has been awesome basically all season. I'm not going to overreact to that. We also have to consider what to do with Nurkic now, because 7 and 8 with 3 assists or 2 assists is not good enough. The percentages were bad in this game, and now they're getting blown out every game at the moment, and Nurkic doesn't play when the games are blowout. If you wanted to make a move and drop Nurkic this week, I totally understand that. I think I will hold through one more, but it is very quickly pointing in the wrong direction. And if I had to make a switch to get Filipowski in, I might do it. Again, in a close game, with Nurkic playing, we have not seen Filipowski do anything good. But the problem now is that maybe those games just don't occur anymore. They got beaten by the Brooklyn Nets comfortably the other day. Yeah, the Jazz did come back, but that's becoming an issue. Obviously. What do you do with Ace Bailey? What do you do with Nurkic? To me, I think they are fringe 12s. You can add them if you want. You can drop them if you want. I think Bailey's trajectory will rise and Nurkic's will drop. So if you want to make that call, that's okay. And again, Filipowski's got a couple of pathways here. He can take the minutes off Nurkic in a blowout. He can take minutes off Markkanen in a blowout. He can get his base 20 anyway. So there's a few pathways there for Filipowski at the moment to be able to put up numbers that are okay. Let's do the lines of the night before we go into recapping my performances over the week. The monstrous line of the night. We're going to Luka Doncic, 31, 15, 11. He chucked in a pair of blocks there as well. Just great to have him back and producing at a high level with LeBron and Reeves both there. The waiver wire line of the night, the best player that is available in a lot of different spots. It was, unbelievably, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. 16 with 5 assists and 2 steals. That whole Memphis game was very weird with the bench providing the blowout for the Grizzlies, so they all got extra run. Your young gun of the night, the best first or second year performance of the day, and it does go to Quinton Post, who had 19 points. He had 5 threes, he had 1 steal, 1 block. The Vooch bump is real. The Chicago Bulls allow more fantasy points to centers than any other team in the NBA, but Post took advantage of it, so good for him. While the dud of the night, Vince Williams, 5 points, no assists, 2 rebounds. Cam Spencer played over 30 minutes. You do not need to be holding on to Vince Williams, really at all. Let's go in and have a look at my leagues, I guess. Go in and have a look. Let's look at 30 deep first. Ooh, that doesn't look good. Mike Gallagher beat me 7-2. Yuck. And I lost 8-1 to Chris Towers. What a bad week. What happened to my team? I had Devin Booker in the lineup and didn't play. Had Grayson Allen. Played 1 game. And Jaren Jackson. Sick. What a week for me. Yeah, not good at all. Not a good week at all. Very, very bad. I don't like very bad weeks. That was a bad week in 30 deep. Let's have a look at my Yahoo League. I was up in this one against Zach Hanshu. Oh, got the 5-4 over him. That's good. We're sort of hovering around a playoff spot there. So that's going to push me. Like I'm either 6th or 7th in that league. I had a couple of bad ones the last couple of weeks, but good to get a positive result there. Now let's look at the Fantrax leagues. All right, in industry pickup, I was going up against DMAC from NBA Fantasy Bible and got the win over him 6-3. I think DMAC was going really well in this league, so I'm very, very happy to get that result, a 6-3 over him. My Roto team, I amazingly left Jalen Johnson in my injured slot the other day and didn't activate him for his triple-double, so that's annoying. But I do know that my team in that league is going very well. Let's have a look. Overall, I think I'm 15th overall out of 120 teams in that big division. And my games played are only 236, and there is not a single team ahead of me with fewer games. Let's go. I'm very happy with that one. How did my best ball matchups go? The Maggie Simpson Division Best Ball League, where we don't choose our lineups. It's just the best scoring for the week. We have 2 matchups a week in that league. How did that look? Well, it's going to take a little bit of time to load. I lost by 12 fantasy points. No way. And then the next one, I won. So I split the matchups in that one. Let's take a look at the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl Bart Simpson Division. How do my matchups go there? We've got 2 matchups there. One's against league median. One's against another opponent. Ooh, 1633, man. Wow. Beat that guy by 500 and beat the league median by 400. My team there is very strong, actually. And then we've got my 2 category Locked On Fantasy Basketball Leagues. We've got the Mo Sislak Division. That is the more expensive one, I think. $100 entry on that one. A 7-2 and a 7-2. Oh, yeah, 2 7-2s. That's good. Very happy with that. And the last one is the Homer Simpson. Another 9 category Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl League. How did I go there? Ooh. Pocket 7-2s. I don't know what that means, but 2 7-2s in both the category leagues. Overall, 30 deep was a disaster, but the other leagues, pretty happy. Going all right. All right, tomorrow we'll do a buy low show, and then we get into a string of incredibly low volume days, as you are well aware. Hit sub, bang up, comment. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Comment your results down below. See ya.